What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wardcast. Every Saturday, we're here live with you for your viewing pleasure and your listening pleasure and all of the pleasure at
Eh.
5 p.m. Well, maybe not all of them, just
I'm leaving.
at 5 p.m. Central Time to talk about what matters most, which is, of
Pie
course, video game news, machinima, minima, survival horror, and other stuff. That's what
and
we're here
cake.
for.
Wow.
And we talk about cake.
Cake matters.
There's cake.
Wow, cake lives matter.
There's cake.
I I'm your host, Sean Clark, alongside Jazz Rich,
I'm your host. Too.
who's in
Also.
a new realm
I'm in
of
a trailer.
existence. It's a nice trailer. Is it really a trailer?
It's a trailer that we had since I was little, because it's like it. It has a deck of its own built into the deck to the cottage, and my mom completely stripped the inside and then rebuilt it. So it's kind of like a little like apartment. So when we have too many people, they just sleep here instead of in the cottage. But it's a trailer. Outside, it
Nice.
looks like shit.
Why? Well, it looks inside, and it's
It's
what's
really
on the
comfy.
inside that counts, as they say, right?
Yeah, I can count, and I'm inside of it.
Not. Why did you look down, Alec? I don't want to know. Don't answer. Alec Funnel is
Because
here
he's
as well.
inside.
I'm sorry, I kept a lot of things from you.
It's okay, Colonel.
Whoa.
Why did that turn to air?
Are you okay? Snake? Snake?
And Shayla Hill.
Fuck.
Hi.
How was your once human, Shayla?
It's awesome. Why say it like that?
You know why? You
I made it, didn't I?
No, you were late. We started, I don't remember, either 2 or 4 minutes late. I'm throwing you directly under the bus where you belong. How does it feel?
I was here on
But
time.
the
Thank you
the
very
only
much.
reason I'm doing that though is because like you straight up didn't even respond to me. I'm like, "Hey, you coming?" Nothing.
Because I
And then you
figured
just show up. Like you could at least be like, "Hey, I'm on my way, so I know what the fuck's going on."
I'm on my
because
way.
But nah.
because if I had stopped to type to say I was coming, then I might have been late. Where as opposed to I got there 2 minutes before 5 o'clock, so I might have been there 1 minute or right at 5 o'clock if I had
How
stopped
slow
to
do you
type.
type?
Slower
Tap,
than you would think.
tap,
She has one of
tap.
those birds that like dips down and then goes back up.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
a.
Yeah, I believe it. I
She
believe it.
asked the kid to type for her, and the kid does not write.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
I believe you. So
Good.
the video game season has officially kicked off, and it's the worst. You know, I mean, it's good, but fuck. I forgot. I
But
always
fuck.
forget that it's like it gets so fucking hectic. Though the last couple of years, I don't really remember. I mean, I guess like there just wasn't enough to talk about, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I mean, it's not like there's a massive like amount of really amazing things this year, but there was a lot of shit that was just worth like mentioning and talking about and stuff. So like it just it's too much. I'm already behind. It's like here's a bunch more
Wow.
shit to talk about. I'm like fucking hell. Um, but yeah, why
You
God?
mean like the
Why are you doing
Silent
this to me?
Hill?
Well, we're not even going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that next week, and that's bullshit. By the way, I'm angry about that. It's good and bad, but
Oh,
we're not talking about that this week. So
it,
stop it.
okay. Okay,
Shall
fine.
we talk
Um,
about
My bad.
Mind's
My
Eye
bad.
instead?
Maybe if I was on time, I would
but
know that.
they, wow, you're roasting yourself.
I mean, to be fair,
Um,
I was on time and we didn't, and I didn't know that. So.
but
And I'm in a trailer.
wow, is it filled with video game news?
Nope.
Good for you.
Yes.
You're lucky.
Seashells.
But yeah, like over the last week, between all the different things that are going on, like the news that I had in queue literally doubled. And you know, I've been complaining about how much backlog I had, and now it's like double what that was. So like I'm gonna have to figure something out. Like we I think we need to follow through on what I wanted to do initially, what we talked about, where we stream the events, because if we stream the events, that's going to eliminate like a chunk of that.
Yeah.
Stop love chunk.
But yeah, because it's too much. I can't make 4,000 videos of each.
Why not, Sean?
It's
Use
I mean I'm
AI.
only one man, so like I
Are
want
you
to.
only human?
Exactly. It's
Want
a
to.
terrible joke.
So am I.
Wow.
Wow.
But yeah, so in the name of the backlog of news, this week we're not going to acknowledge anything that happened this week. Pretend this week didn't happen. We're going to be talking about some of the backlog news. So it's like a little bit older news, but still it's news nonetheless. It's still important. So yeah, because like if I were to pick a couple of things from this week, like a lot of the things that I would want to talk that I would prioritize for this week, like I would want to go into more depth with. I would want to make higher quality videos for rather than just throw them together for the sake of talking about them this week. So that's why. Quality. All right.
T for koalas.
T for koalas.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Wardcast. This week we're talking about Sony possibly not being ready to go fully digital. A new horror game question mark called AAU. Yeah, weird. An update on the new Resident Evil movie and some rumors, kind of bullshit, and more. We have a Machinima showcase. We're going to do the one that we weren't able to do last week. We got Fakin Who Asked Ya, movie video game stars, and finally, Nobody Asked Us. But before we get into all that, it's tradition for Jazz to lead us in the telling of her week.
And the week didn't happen.
You didn't have a week?
Well, it didn't happen. I thought.
You told us to not.
Yeah.
God damn it. In regard to news.
Well, my week was productive, sort of, but not productive. But like, yeah, things. We got kayaks, yay! And so I'm at the cottage right now, and I got to go on my kayak today and go magnet fishing. I didn't catch anything. Oh, I caught some clay, but I can get that anytime. Yeah, I didn't need a magnet for that. There's clay at the bottom of the lake. I was trying to find the hammer that my mom dropped in the lake years ago. Still working on that. My magnet caught onto the chain at where the bricks are for the buoys where we put the raft. So like as soon as it caught on, my kayak did like like an immediate stop. So that was pretty cool. It's a really strong magnet, so it was pretty cool. I got to play some games this week. I did play Baldur's Gate, but played a little bit of Repo and played wow, I heard that. Rude.
Mute.
It's okay, I do it to you all the time. I played wow. Weird, you said mute and it muted.
Yeah.
Magic. I played some Clair Obscure and beat a couple of bosses that were a little tough, but it's cool that I'm still finding new stuff in there. I played a new game, finished it, and turns out I'm like 2 or 3 trophies away from the platinum, and it's called Puppet House, and I really enjoyed it. It's like a first person like horror where you go investigate this house of this ventriloquist that died, and people have been going there like disappeared, and like turns out like he put his soul in the puppet, and the puppet is running around and trying to kill you, and it seems like it would be like kind of like this shitty. It was like a cheap game, and it's like, oh, this little puppet, but he like pops out of places like kind of like Nemesis or Mr. X, and he gets you. Like I was yelling at him, and it was pretty spooky. So
I was watching her.
yeah, she was watching me, and it was like I was like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while, So
I was gonna say I really like the way you can like smack him away, like when he jump out and scare Jazz, her character can like backhand him and he's like, ugh!
yeah, like it's just a puppet, and like your guy just kicks him
Kick
and
a
he goes
buck
like
at
flying
you.
across the room, then he just runs off. Like I like that it's not like there's a couple QTEs to do, and it's not like it's not like a situation where like, oh, he's overpowering me somehow. Like he's just a puppet, but like because he comes out of
Like
nowhere, stabs you, and then runs off, like you're like, Jesus Christ. But he doesn't talk, which makes it creepier, and the atmosphere is pretty good. So it was a good game.
It's weird. The timing of that is very strange because there's a puppet game that we're going to talk about soon, and it's like we never. When was the last time we talked about a game that had a puppet in it? And now there is one, and you're playing a puppet game. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, actually, he kind of looks like Jazz is the one who pointed it out, but he kind of looks like the mimes from Claire Obscure.
Yeah, he reminds me of those, and
A
Is
little
he
bit.
French?
except he doesn't go, oh. Well, it's worse because his name's Peter, and so me and Shayla, when we're playing Letha, we're always going like, now Peter. So like I started doing that after a while, and that made the game less scary until he popped out again. I also played through, I don't remember if it was this week, but I played a little bit this week. I was just like trying out each Freddy versus Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, Five Nights.
Five Nights at Freddy's games, and I kind of like got stuck on 4 a little bit longer because I find that one more like, I want to say more engaging because you're actually like you're doing stuff other
Moving.
than just looking at a camera. And I finally beat night 2, but then night 3 is stupid. But
Would you say it's a nightmare?
No. I've been watching X-Men Evolution. I used to wake up early in the morning in junior high to watch it before school. I really liked it, and now I'm like remembering why I liked it so much because it's still like it's a goofy spin to like the X-Men of like them being in high school and they're just kids learning, and they still go to the mansion and they live there, and like Scott had like Cyclops has like a crush on Jean Grey. Like it's like Rogue's like gothic punk. Like it's a fun like little spin idea, and Stan Lee was obviously still like credited as like part of it, but I'm gonna watch like the original like 90s series after, but it brings me back to my childhood a little bit. It's a good show. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Enjoying the cottage for the weekend. The weekend. Yeah. And I got something in the mail, which is going to be my show and tell. I had forgotten I ordered it. And when it arrived, I was like, I don't know what this is. And I opened it, and it took me a few seconds to remember ordering it. I didn't want to take it to the cottage in case it got damaged or anything. So I sent a picture to Sean. They smashed show and tell, which I thought Sean would have ready because he said he's muted right now.
So I'm talking to myself. God damn it.
He said it's tradition for me to start, and he's not even ready with my show and tell picture.
Listen.
So in the meantime, I'll just keep talking about my kayak. It's red. It's called a Mustang. And it has a paddle.
There.
All right, so this is my show and tell. I bought myself the original OST for the remake of RE3. I haven't opened the plastic yet, and I haven't listened to it yet. But I saw that on IGN's website on their store, and I was like, yeah, I want it.
I knew I was forgetting something. God damn it. And that's what it was. The picture.
I remembered. Oh. Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It just told me my connection was lost, so I don't know. I was like talking this whole time. Yeah.
No, we had you.
But once I got it and remembered getting it, I remembered that I hadn't ordered it too long ago. So IGN's website actually like ships and delivers pretty quickly. And it was in a box and like really like packaged well, so it didn't get damaged. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my week.
Hello, Lee. Welcome.
And I will pass it on to, and of course Sean loves the cover because it's got Piano Nemesis.
Oh, it's my favorite
Yeah.
The pharmacist.
in all his trashy glory.
We need to have somebody draw a picture of like Jill trying to play the piano, but like she doesn't realize it's just
Playing
Nemesis, and he's
Moonlight.
like, and he's got like his gun ready to shoot her.
Da
And then
da
every
da
key
da
is
da
like
da da.
every key she presses is just Nemesis going stars,
He's just, like,
stars,
singing
stars,
it.
stars, stars, stars.
He's singing the Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah.
Rebecca's like,
I
is that
should-
Nemesis?
Stars.
I feel like there should be a mod for him where he has one of those little like pinwheel hats, like the multicolored hats with
Oh my God.
the spinny thing.
That would be pretty funny.
It would suit him very well.
Especially this month.
And a kazoo.
Yeah.
A kazoo every time he jumps somewhere. Alec,
Yes.
how was your non-existent week?
I was a bit busy this week. So I watched all seasons 1 to 5 of Demon Slayer. I had originally seen the first 4 seasons, so it was quite nice to rewatch it and then see season 5. And I'm like, oh my god, I need season 6 or whatever, and it's not here. I'm like, god damn it! So I'm curious to play the Demon Slayer game at some point. I haven't played it, but I know it's out there. I know it's actually on sale, but I'm like, I can't. As I actually have just bought a Nintendo Wii console. It hasn't arrived yet, but I was like, I literally bought one. I was like, hey!
Why?
I had the retro itch, and I'm just like, okay. Plus, my partner says
Plus.
he's able to put the homebrew channel on it, so you can play, copies of certain games. So yeah.
on the Switch too.
No, you play it on the Wii.
On the Switch 0.5.
So yeah. I also watched because I was curious about it. Mind's Eye, the video game.
We'll be talking about that thoroughly next week.
Well, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. It's not surprising that Sony are refunding people that bought it. I would say the game was just too ambitious because I watched it from start to end. It had so many ideas that it just couldn't do it, and it's like it came out in the detail of the game as you play through it, and you think, okay. But I'll bring that up next time. We talk about it next week. I played new to me Stick Fight the game. Yeah. Yeah,
The dogs don't like that.
Woo, woo, woo.
Get the fetch a stick.
They got excited. They're like, stick what?
Whoa, stick! What?
Stick!
So, easiest way to describe it is think of Super Smash Bros. Just with stick figures instead. In
Sounds
different
great.
colors, and when you can punch people and then occasionally use guns and might accidentally jump to your death, stuff like that. So, yeah. I don't know, it's quite fun just to play for a little bit, so I was kind of having fun with it, seeing as I didn't pay anything for it, so yeah. I played Cat Game, a different cat game. I played a demo of Copycat, a cat game where you play as a cat, who figures, that gets adopted by an older, sick woman, but it gives you the options to do stuff, like she'll come up to you, it's like, you can go up to her and be all nice, or you can bite her hand. And I was like, I'm going to bite her hand. And so I just do all that, all the evil shit, because, yeah. So, I might get into that. I might download the game at some point. I played new to me Her Majesty's Spiffing. Yeah. You play as a British astronaut, and you're on a mission to do something. I still haven't entirely figured out what that is, but yeah. And finally, I played new to me. Here's the title of this game. I'm in love with your dead grandmother online battle royale.
What?
Yep, it's free to play. So this
It
game
better
has
be. What the fuck?
So this game has a collection of characters from Later films games. These characters are of a real life Canadian couple that make these games. So you can play as Noah, which is one of the characters, with other online players. Often the very same Noah character as other people because it's the free DLC, free character. But you can pay for DLC to get new character skins, and they're very blatant about it because you can hear in the background of whatever you're doing a song that they've come up with as like, why haven't you bought the skins as DLC and all that? If you don't buy the skins, then you're not a proper player and stuff like that. So it's, in one hand, it's a parody, but the other hand, it makes it blatant about it. So I'm just like, at least they're honest about it. So in that game, you can do the battle royale, race to escape the gas, and race to get to the toilet. So yeah. I actually found Kimulator Films' YouTube channel and left a comment, and they were very quick to reply. So yeah, at least, as I said, they're honest about it. So yeah, that was my week. Sheila, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I honestly didn't really get to watch anything new. Um, I don't know if I think I mentioned I saw. Oh, that's right, I did. Yeah, so I haven't watched anything new. I've been playing Once Human like a whole lot. Um, but I did have some stuff to show that I got. Let me pull that up. There we go. Share. Wow. Ah. So Jazz fed my dice fish. She fed my fish with some of these really cool mystery dice bags. And like each one came with like a full set of dice. Like this
I
one
can't be
looks
stopped.
very it looks like lapis lazuli,
Lapis.
I think. Yeah, because it's like blue with clear and golden inside. And then this one, this set, like kind of like opalite looking. And then this is the best one. Oops, as I spill them everywhere.
No. You
Like
can't spill dice.
galaxy
You roll
looking.
them. You rolled them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I got a nat one. Oh no. No.
So I don't even know what that means. What the fuck is a full set of dice? What does that even mean?
There's
So
7 because there's one of each.
One of each
yeah.
what?
So like
Different size?
one
D20,
of each
D12,
No.
type.
D10, D8, D6, D4,
Yeah. Because
Gotcha.
when you
and the
play, like,
percentage.
sometimes you have to roll different ones. Because, like, obviously you don't always roll the 20-sided die. Like, some moves require different
Like in Baldur's
dice.
Gate.
So when you play D&D, you need to roll different ones, and that way you have one of each of the different
These aren't for
types.
rolling, obviously.
But and then I got a couple different ones, but I wanted to show at the convention. I got some anime figures. This one store they were like buy two get one free, and I got this really cool Gojo figure. It was funny because it came in like a really small box, and then I found out that it was in half, which I thought, if you know, you know. It's kind of diabolical, but it turned out to be a really big figure, which is kind of cool. And
He's doing a Damien thing.
last but not least, I wanted to show off that I got my.
Is he a Naruto?
No, it's from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, he
Speaking of
looks like a Naruto.
He does kind of look like Kakashi, actually.
They all
But
look
I
like
wanted to
Naruto.
show that my Alice.
Oh, is that
print
Alice?
Came in.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but he did sign it. It goes with my
Did
other
it
one.
come
which is over-
framed?
No, I framed it myself. That's my other one I
Mm.
got. And they're almost all gone from the website, so I'm glad I got it when I did. But yeah, this is probably the coolest looking one that they had left. But speaking of Naruto, Naruto?
I
Yeah.
knew it.
But yeah. But yeah. How was your week,
is
Sean?
is is Alice a Naruto?
Was Alice in Naruto? Yes.
All right, good.
She's the
Uh,
ninja.
yeah.
She's from
Uh,
the Madness clan.
there you go. Not a
Yeah.
whole lot for me this week, obviously, because the news and stuff. I've just been really working on that, and like you mentioned, Jazz, played a little bit of Repo with you, and played a little bit of Repo on my own, and it's kind of it. I had enough shit to deal with. I couldn't play any games or start anything new, or yeah, I had to just focus. Though I did decide on I'm committing to going back to like my older games and stuff like that, and I want to start specifically with doing some PS1 and PS2 titles that I've been wanting to play for a really long time. So that brings me to my show and tell, which is this one. I'm gonna play this finally. Well, I mean,
Ooh.
I I played it
Is that the
before,
copy I sent you?
yeah, and I did start it a while back, like when you sent it to me,
Hmm.
but I don't remember what happened. I think I was trying to capture it, and I ran into some problems with that, and I think I got frustrated and just kind of fell to the wayside. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I'm probably this time I'll probably just sit down and play it just for the sake of playing it, so I can enjoy it. You know, not stream it, not record it, not fuck around with it, so that I can actually get through it because I've been wanting to play through that game for a really long time. And then like once I go through it, then I can go back through, and if I want to make a video or whatever, I can do it that way. But I want to do that, and I want to do this one. This I've heard both of these games are terrible,
Oh
so
yeah.
I picked two really terrible games to play, so that should be fun. Um, but yeah, it's weird. Like this one, I think it's survival horror. I believe. I think it's a little bit more actiony, but it's like it's not one
Yeah.
that really comes up in conversation, like for better or worse. Like it's not like people don't talk about
People
it
don't talk
and
about
say like,
it.
"Oh, it's the worst game ever," and they don't talk about it as being a good game. It's just like no one never talks about that game, and it's really weird
I
to me. Because like
I
even like
think
Cold
it's
Fear,
because it
people shit on that game, but it's in the conversation.
they
But
talk about.
like nobody even acknowledges extermination like at
I
all. It's
think
weird.
it's because it was like one of the first PlayStation. It was like out within the first year of the PlayStation 2 coming out.
It was a launch window. Well, I mean that should just like that should give it
You
more of a spotlight,
you would
right?
think.
Because it was like a launch title, well, more or less a launch title. So you think like
Yeah.
more people would have played it, or at least looked at it, talked about it. I don't know. It's weird.
You would think. Yeah. Yeah. Weird.
I feel like I have that one.
It looks cool though, but it
I
can't be. Like it's
yeah.
just
I
it's
just
going to
like
be
nobody
horrible.
ever mentions it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Do I
but again,
have that
it
game?
goes back to what I said. Like nobody, like if it was really that awful, it still would have been part of the conversation. You know, like it would have been talked about as being like, oh, one of the worst survival horror games ever made. But so I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
curious.
see, although I kind of feel truthfully, it's like games like that and Carrier are the reason why survival horror genre died, because you see a lot of people talking about like, oh, why did survival horror die, blah blah blah, and it's like, well, because you weren't there when that was, like, a lot of people that say that weren't there when those games are coming out because like no one was playing them. Like it's like survival horror kind of ended up dying because there were a lot of games that came out and nobody was playing them.
Yeah, and it's weird too because like there are. I mean, I guess it was harder back then to get exposure because the internet was around, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
You know,
Like what
everything
it
wasn't
is.
so interconnected. Like every single person in the
Hmm.
world wasn't fucking like indefinitely online. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't that kind of a
Yeah.
communication, and I think that's probably why. But
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just like something like Extermination and Carrier, like is another one that you
Hmm.
mentioned. Like those ones are. I mean, I don't know specifically about Extermination, but from what I've seen and what I know about it, it seems like it's like more unique than your typical survival horror games. So like you would think that'd be interesting. And like same thing with Carrier, like that game is terrible, but there's elements of it that I really enjoy, especially like if you're looking at the genre within that period of time, because like that was one of the only ones where you could like freely aim and stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting. And even though it was terrible, they tried to do something different with the monsters, with the plants, and like they had these
Hmm.
kind of plant zombie things. And I don't know, it's just like you would think them kind of trying to make something outside the box, it just would have been more in the conversation.
Yeah.
Is
But then again, like
extermination?
through the PS1 and PS2 era, survival horror wasn't really a big thing. I feel like the indies really turned it into like a popular
Yeah.
um, genre. Back in the day, nobody gave a shit, but now everybody fucking cares. It's funny because
Right.
this kind of segues into something I wanted to talk about before we get into the news, and that's just kind of like how Resident Evil has changed. I was thinking about that with
It's
the
not
Summer Game
survival horror.
Fest, where like back in the day, it was essentially one of those games. It's like depending on who you talk to, it's a terrible game because of the controls. Like the controls are really hard to wrap your head around, and like a lot of people just think it plays like shit, and they gave up on it and never talked about it again. And it just lived in this very small niche survival horror genre that most people didn't give a shit about. And now here we are, where at Summer Game Fest, fucking Resident Evil was the game. Like literally, it was the
Hmm.
crowning achievement of that whole thing. Like they waited to the end. It was the big
Yep.
reveal. Like Resident Evil is one of the biggest fucking games in the industry right now. And like to go from what it was originally to that is just fucking insane. And I don't know how I feel about it. Like it does make me happy to see a franchise that I love thriving, but at the same time it kind of loses that personal attachment, that personality that it used to have, being, this janky little kind of thing that was special to you and just kind of like a smaller group of people. There's something magical about that, where now it's like it's compared to like fucking Call of Duty and stupid shit like that. And it's like something about it feels a little bit gross or weird to me.
Hmm.
um I don't know. Do you feel that way at all? Like, do you ever think about it like that, or are you just happy that it's doing well?
I guess I kind of feel that I'm just happy it's doing well. Um, just because I mean, I guess my sentiment is what I kind of already said, was that like when survival horror was in its heyday, people just weren't paying attention to anything unless it was Resident Evil. So like I don't know, I think people get like I like that Resident Evil's doing well, but I feel like people just get super attached to it as a franchise that they don't like. I don't know.
So
Uh,
it's a bit like
I
for me with the whole Metal Gear Solid thing. It's like I'm glad it's dead. Yes, it's been Three's being remade, but just like I know what to expect, so it's not going to shock me. So in that turn, I'm glad it died. So rather
I'm
yeah,
than
glad it
it
died
just
rather than
wanting to
having more
survive.
Resident Evil survive, or I'm not Resident Evil, Metal Gear
Yeah, yeah, I know
survive.
what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
like
I guess that kind of ties into like my point is like Metal Gear kind of lived out its existence for the most part, kind of like within its identity until Survive, and it died. You know what I mean? Like it
mm,
hit that fucking road, and it and or it hit that wall and it just stopped. Where Resident Evil just kind of hit a similar wall and was like scrambling to find a new identity, and it found it, which is good, but also it's not what it was anymore. It's like we
See,
we turned into Resident Evil 6, which I we've talked about a million times. I love as a video game, but that's not Resident Evil. And then we're going down that same path again, where it's like, 7 wasn't really Resident Evil, Village was even less so, and what the fuck is 9 going to be? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, there's
but
excitement for it because it's Resident Evil, but like at the end of the day, in my heart, I
I know.
I know like this. I'm not excited for this as a Resident Evil game. I know I'm not
See,
going to be getting that out of it.
I've been like that for a long time though. So like for me, uh don't get me wrong, I really liked Code Veronica, but there were aspects of Code Veronica that felt like um kind of like, okay, where are you guys going to go with this kind of game? Like it's almost getting like weirdly uh derivative in the sense that like, okay, this is like a Resident Evil game for people who play Resident Evil. And like, where are we going with this? And then 4 came out and it was like nothing like anything Resident Evil. So like ever since 4, I've kind of just been like, you never know what you're going to get. Like I don't really get too attached to it,
See,
especially because then we
that's
got
not
games
good.
like
That's
Haunting
not a
Ground.
good thing.
I don't know.
That's kind of my problem though, is like it with Resident Evil, you don't know what you're gonna get. Like back in the day, it's like you play Resident Evil 1 and you were excited for 2 because it was gonna be more of 1. And then you've loved 2 for the same reason you loved 1, so you were excited for 3 because you were gonna get that experience again, and you got it. Like that's the point of a franchise. That's why that matters. That's why you have a brand. If it's just like a
Yeah.
fucking mystery box every time, then just you might as well just make a new IP every time.
But it's proven time and time again, even just as the death of survival horror, that unfortunately, if it doesn't have that title attached, people aren't going to pay attention. People pay attention. Unfortunately, people are like jingle jangle. Ooh, Resident Evil, Resident Evil. Ah, I'm paying attention now. And if it didn't have that attached, I don't think it would. It would just have like a lot of the games. That's why there's so many indie horror games, is because it's always going to be a niche thing. And Resident Evil was like one of the few exceptions where it just so happened to have a mainstream appeal. So unfortunately, I don't know how it's going to be. Really, it's been really difficult for series to like have that breakthrough title that gets the mainstream attention
I
as a
would
horror
counter that
title.
argument with Devil May Cry.
But Devil May Cry is an action game.
Yeah, but it was originally going to be a Resident Evil, right? And then it's shifted so much that they had to rebrand it. And Devil May Cry, yes, it had a little bit of a dips thing, but it's still relevant. So it became its own brand. It didn't need Resident Evil to tag on with it.
Yeah,
But it's also
and
not a
that's
horror title. It's a action title.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if it's not linked, you've said that you want that games had to have the Resident Evil title for it to get the attention.
Horror.
And I said they
Horror.
count.
Horror. I'm saying horror games don't get attention unless they have the Resident Evil title. Otherwise, it's really difficult for horror titles to break into mainstream. Do you know what I
but
mean? Like
that's
almost, it's
that's why
kind of
you
just
need
like horror
somebody like.
movies having difficulty breaking through into mainstream. They always end up being kind of like a niche. Like they're successful in their own lane, but like they rarely become like the status that Resident Evil somehow managed to make.
I guess that's kind of the thing for me, is like it doesn't need to change into to a different thing or turn into an action thing. Like it should just be allowed to exist as survival horror. Like, yeah, okay, that market is smaller, but that doesn't mean it
Mhm.
shouldn't exist. You know, there are people that
Yeah.
enjoy that, and you should see. Again, this is part of my problem with the whole fucking industry is like we gotta get
Yes,
all
it
that
doesn't
money.
have.
Every
Yeah.
game we've got to fucking invest $100 million into it, and we got to
Right.
get a return of 300 million. And it's just like, stop. Like, just yeah, okay, there's a market for that, and that's fine. But like, we need to also understand niches and smaller pockets
It,
of innovative game experiences, and horror is one of those. Like, but for those to succeed, you have to approach it in the proper way. You've got to have a small budget. You have to have
mhm.
expectations that are more narrow. You know, you got to be like, okay, we're not going to sell a fucking billion copies of this. We're going to sell, you know,
But I think
I
the
don't know,
problem was,
100,000, and we'll accommodate that with X amount of dollars to balance out the success, and then that way we can create something interesting and new and
well,
still not lose money on it and still profit. Like, but nobody
that's
thinks about things like that anymore.
well, so first of all, I absolutely agree with you. 100%. But I honestly think the reason why that wouldn't, like, why no one would let them, why Capcom would not let that happen with Resident Evil is because up until I want to say Monster Hunter, I think was the first Capcom game to break this, but um for like a good 10-year period, Resident Evil was Capcom's highest grossing video game franchise. So, dumb corporate brains aren't going to go, "Hey, let's scale it back." They're going to be like, "This is our biggest property. We need to make it the biggest and best thing. We need to continue to make it selling number 1. It's our number 1 selling franchise." So that's why I'm sure they were so obsessed with like keeping it in the mainstream when yeah, it would be way cooler if they were just like, "Hey, now let's like take go back to kind of like what horror is and make it an more indie game and cater to our niche." But I'm sure because like I said, up until I think Monster Hunter World was the first Capcom game that broke the Capcom's highest most selling franchise. So like I guess until someone else takes that, if Monster Hunter can consistently stay at number 1, maybe they will start to like focus on a more dialed back Resident Evil. But as long as dumbasses continue to buy it, because oh, Resident Evil, it's gonna have to appeal to everyone. I feel like.
Wow.
That was a joke.
I'm being double attacked by Jazz and also Lee.
I'm not attacking you.
What is happening?
What? What?
It was a
Uh,
joke. It's just Sean. He's like, I have to buy it because Resident
Oh,
Evil.
my bad.
I didn't mean like sorry.
it's true, but I mean, like, and that's the sad thing is like, I am that person, and I'm kind of part of the problem. But like, we've come real close to them even like losing me with like
Yeah.
Village was almost it, and then like
Yeah.
9 could still be the one. Like 9 is the one that I've said is kind of like the kind of make or break it for the franchise with me because it's been losing me. But like from what I've seen, I don't think that's going to happen unless something really fucking crazy comes out of left field, which is possible. Um, but yeah, I just like, but that's where I'm at. It's like my favorite franchise has gotten to the point where it's almost lost me, and I just can't help but think about what it used to be, and if they had just leaned into that and kept that going, maybe it never would have gotten any. It wouldn't have blown up. It wouldn't be popular. It might not even exist today, but it would have lived and died as Resident Evil, kind of like Metal Gear more or less did. It was tainted at the end with fucking Survive because it was garbage, but it was
But
one
then,
game. All the other
like,
Metal Gears were Metal Gear games, and like that's a legacy. When you say
but like,
when you're talking about Metal Gear, people know what the fuck you're talking about because it's a thing. When you're talking about Resident Evil, it could be fucking
it's
anything.
what anything.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean,
crazy.
even like a perfect example, and this was super unfortunate, and I think some of this might have just been because unfortunately at the point these games came out, the PlayStation 2 library was enormous. But look at games like Haunting Ground 2, which I thought was is an amazing game, but because it didn't have Resident Evil, I think because it wasn't a Resident Evil game, like that game bombed. Like it didn't do well. And it's like, I bet if they had attached Resident Evil to the title, how much you want to bet it probably would have sold a lot better in America than it did. But no, and it
Okay.
literally spoke to the people who like just look at numbers of, hey, people don't want these games. Like they don't care about these kind of games.
So Silent Hill isn't a Resident Evil game. That's a horror
Mhm.
game. It did well, and then it
Mhm.
pivoted, just like Resident Evil. And then it died. Now it's coming back. What's
Mhm.
that tell you?
I mean,
That
people
its
do like
termination was
horror
There's a-
games,
genuine.
and that's like
There's an
count.
audience for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an
And
audience for the pivot.
And you know, I'd really be curious to see like no like mainstream like I don't know, I guess AAA studio like Capcom has put out like a traditional survival horror game, like a fixed camera survival horror game. Like there's tons of them out there, but they're all indie. Like I wonder
Mm-hmm.
what would happen if like Capcom just fucking out of their ass, they did a fixed camera traditional survival horror Resident Evil game. I want to know like what kind of numbers that would put up because like there there kind of is an audience for that, like a
Right?
pretty massive audience because of the indie scene and because of the brand of Resident Evil being at its height. So like with all these kind of all these planets aligned, like I wonder if they were to do that, like I wonder what the reception would be,
I
but
think
we'll never see that
YouTubers help
happen.
that dynamic a lot too, because like people like watching people play horror games, so it gets the game's publicity and
Yeah. But anyways,
yeah.
survival horror. It turns into a long conversation, but we don't really have long conversations about survival horror very often, so
Well, now we
it
have.
was it was good. It was good. And then the last thing, just real quick before we move into the news, is just kind of again going to Summer Game Fest and Resident Evil. I just want to point out that Capcom were a bunch of assholes about how they approach things because like they midway
Yeah.
through they trolled everyone. They had the executive producer, they're like, they sang happy birthday to Resident Evil, and then the executive producer comes on and he's like, thanks for waiting everybody, but we need you to wait a little bit longer, it's right around the corner, implying that they're not going to reveal it. Like everybody was
Yeah.
expecting it to be there, and then this was like confirmation that it was not going to be there, but it was going to be soon after, and then boom, at the
Yeah.
end it was there. Like what a fucked up thing to do. And I kind of
It,
wonder like why they did that, because I bet you there was a lot of people that just turned it the fuck off at that moment. They're like, oh,
dude,
it's
there
not
were
here. Fuck
so
this.
many there were so many awkward live tweets made up like after that happened. Like there was a bunch of people
I
raging on
bet.
Twitter, and then like 30
I was
minutes later they're like,
pissed.
haha, just kidding.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I appreciated it, but it was kind of fucked up. and
Hmm.
kind of counterproductive for them to do that. I don't
Yeah.
know why they would do something like that. The only thing that they could get out of that is a loss of viewers. Like what other possible
Right.
benefit could they get? It's just like they
Could you
just did it to be
imagine
assholes, which is
Could you
funny.
imagine if you really did rage quit and then you find out like you turned it off and went to sleep and then you woke up and was like Resident Evil
That
died in
would
the
have
house?
been
Like
so
what?
good. That would have been Capcom lied to me. Yeah, yeah, it's funny though. All right, now that we got that out of the way, it's time for some news.
It's time for some news.
The former PlayStation boss thinks Sony can't back down from physical games with the PS6. Sean Layden, who was the previous CEO of PlayStation, has spoken out about the current controversy regarding whether the next generation will be a digital-only one. He believes that the Xbox has already been heading that way for a while now, while Sony has been somewhere in the middle. Layden said that the Xbox's market is primarily in more technologically integrated countries such as the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and so on, while PlayStation has a much larger reach across the globe, affecting more rural parts of the world where online access isn't as commonplace. People who travel, such as athletes or people on military bases, may be affected too by a digital-only offering. Layden acknowledged that going digital is an inevitability, and he believes that Sony is gauging what an acceptable falloff would be in terms of cutting out portions of its user base, but he believes that right now, and through the release of the PS6, Sony isn't quite ready to go there. Xbox, on the other hand, is clearly ready to jump ship. Just look at Xbox Game Pass. It's the single driving force for the Xbox brand. Combine that with their goal of making their games available across all platforms, they're a shoo-in for digital. And who are we kidding? Xbox has been ready for digital only since 2013, when they showed the first iteration of the Xbox One. I'm sure they're champing at the bit to reach their goal over a decade later. What's it all mean? Though things could go one of many ways in the time between now and next gen, it's a safe bet that the 10th generation of consoles, which will include the Switch 2, PS6, and whatever Xbox does, will likely be the last generation to offer physical media. It's probably going to be a messy affair, as some companies have already checked out of physical, some will continue to embrace it for now, and some are still figuring out what the fuck they're going to do. Yeah, that's you, Sony. So it's kind of good to hear, I guess. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of just ready for it to just happen. You know what I mean? Like, just, it's been fucking happening for so long, and I'm just like around every corner. Like, I'm just hoping and getting disappointed over and over again. And it's just like, just pull the band-aid off. Let's just go digital. I'll move over to PC. We'll call it a day, and it's so stupid. What do you guys think?
I
Yeah,
mean,
Go ahead, Charlie.
I like physical media, but yeah, it's kind of dead because even when you do get physical media, it's usually they give you a box with a code in it. So it's like, I, I don't know. It's just sort of like, what are you gonna do?
It
Well,
just like it doesn't feel, I don't know, I guess kind of like subconsciously. I don't know if everybody's this way, but it's like you're collecting cards in a way. You know what I mean? It's like when you buy a game, a physical copy of a game, and you add it to your collection, put it on your shelf, and you've added another one. And it's like you're kind of building this massive, like one day maybe you'll have the whole library. Who fucking knows? It's just kind of all feeds into what being a collector is. But like in the current generation and the next generation coming up, which will be worse, you can't do that. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, there's some games that are like you said, they're going to be a code, or they're going to be an install disk that just has a boot up file on it, or you're going to have to connect to the internet initially to install it. So it's like you have a physical representation, and until the servers go down, you can install it and play it. But once it goes down and you can't connect to the internet anymore, that physical version doesn't exist. So it's just like, it's so all over the place that like you can't really collect in that way. It's just like you get to pick or you don't even get to pick
Oh,
and choose. It's like you're picking up scraps. It's just like, well, I guess I'm going to get the ones they allow me to get. And like, that's not fun.
well,
It just feels like, go ahead.
you know what's even worse is how some of these live service games, it's like, oh, they lure you in with, oh, it's free and stuff. But there was this game, I don't know if you've discussed it on the podcast, probably not because it's a girly game, but have you heard of what happened with Infinity Nikki
Is it
Infinity
Nikkei?
Nikki?
Mickey?
No, Infinity Nikki.
Are
So
those different things?
basically, They're different things. It's a dress up game. It's kind of plays like Genshin style, but it's all about like dressing up and getting dresses and accessories. Um,
Mhm.
and so basically, what happened was the game had a really cool premise and a really interesting story. Like it starts you off with a cinema, and you're this girl who goes up into an attic, and you find this magical dress left behind by your mother, and it transports you to another universe, and you find this goddess, and you're linked to this world, and the whole adventure starts, right? Well, they
That
did an
sounds
update.
insane. But yes,
Well,
continue.
apparently it doesn't matter because months into the game's cycle or whatever, they decided to do a big update with a whole bunch of like promises for new stuff. Well, the update completely once you load it up, you update the game and you load it up, it does an opening cinema and retcons everything that they talked about before with this really generic, like, you're a goddess, here's your adventure. And all of the old cinema, all the story retcon doesn't exist no more. The original version of the game that you've been playing for months is gone. And you continue on with this weird buggy mess that is kind of like a mockery of what you've been playing up until this point, or dumbed down, and they added some new features but basically kind of ruined everything that's been. And is there a way to go back and play the original game, or any way to preserve what existed before? Absolutely not. It's lots of
Yeah,
time.
see, I hate that shit. It's like, there's games going as far back as like the 360 and PS3 where it's like, there's downloadable pieces of the story that like, especially with the Xbox, the marketplace is down. So like you're never going like even though you have the physical copy of that game, you're never going to know how it ended because you can't download that content anymore. And then there's shit like you're talking about where it's like, okay, well, I bought this game and I enjoyed the story, and then they retconned and removed the story that I liked and put something new into it, and like that's not a good time, especially if you're talking about a game that's like this could happen for a physical game.
Hmm.
They print that story onto the disc, and then down the road they update it through a patch that does exactly what you said, and they change the story. Well, guess what?
Hmm.
When the server goes down, the new canon story doesn't exist anymore. You have the old, outdated one on your physical copy, and like that's fucking stupid. That should never happen.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then like shit like this happens with like balancing characters, like in fighting games and things like that, where it's like, you play a character and you learn them and you get used to like how powerful they are, and then they update it and they nerf that character, and now they suck. You know what I mean? Like that's not great. And this is
I,
something we're going to talk about next week with Claire Obscure. Like they patched that too, and they put in a bunch of like bullshit baby mode shit. And I'm just
hmm
like, what the fuck? Why do we have to do this? That game was perfect. The balance, it had
yeah,
challenge.
everybody loved
It had
it.
that, yeah, and then a handful of people probably complained, oh, it's too difficult. So what do? They put in all this shit. Like one of the things, like we're going to talk about it more next week, but one of the things is like they updated to widen the parry window 40%. That's like game breaking. Like that's insane. So it's just like, yeah, there are benefits to like updating your game and getting new content and shit like that, fixing bugs and whatnot. But there's a really shitty downside to it as well. Anywho.
So they patched it, made it easier for me.
There you go. Yeah, easier for you to get your platinum, Alec.
Yeah, at least my complaints are finally getting into there.
There you go. They did it for you. And it's funny too. I just heard this recently, and I don't know how true it is, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with DSP, Darkside Phil. Like he's this fucking
Yeah,
huge troll
he's a
shithead that
douche. Yeah.
everybody hates on. Yeah, always begging for
Oh,
money and
the
shit.
camera's on.
Um, yeah. But apparently he was directly involved in a big way for why we have like all this yellow guiding, like, you know, the
Oh,
yellows on the boxes and the yellows on the pathway. Like
yellow
specifically,
paint
he
problem.
contributed to that happening. Him and people like him bitched and
Yeah.
complained and are so dumb that they can't function without direct guidance, and now it's in everything that we play.
So
This is
Yellow
why
paint.
you can't listen to a handful of people and completely change your game, because if one company does it and another does, it becomes normal and then it fucking ruins everything.
So there's a guy I watched on YouTube, George something or other. When he plays MGS3, um, every time he gets to a certain mountain, there's a DSP spot where DSP, when he played it, he jumped off the mountain because he thought that's what he had to do. And so every time George plays this game, he he does it on purpose. So it's like,
Jumps
oh,
off.
this is the DSP spot. So it's like always dies. It's just like, yeah.
Oh God.
It's funny. Oh man.
It reminds me of Michael Scott just driving in the river because the GPS told him to go
Yeah,
straight.
that's DSP.
Dwight's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's telling me to go straight. The machine's telling me."
Oh my god. It's terrible. All right. Anything else before we move on?
No.
Hopes for a true-to-form, quality Resident Evil movie on the horizon have been quickly dashed if these rumors are to be true. When speaking about the project, writer and director Zach Krager said he's a big fan of the series and that his vision would be more in line with the game's storyline. Though the leaks, if true, say otherwise. The plot is said to focus on, quote, a hapless courier, played by Austin Abrams, tasked with delivering a package to a remote hospital. He finds himself caught in the middle of an outbreak, and he must fight through hordes of mutated creatures to survive. Krager recently said, quote, my movie will be built in the spirit of those games and follows one central protagonist from point A to point B as they descend deeper into hell. This does support the leaked premise to some extent. It's said that Mikey Madison is in talks to take the role of the female lead, which, well, this is her.
I also just want to again recognize and honor the sex worker community. I will continue to support and be an ally.
What the hell is she talking about?
Weird.
Getting serious Rachel Zegler Snow White vibes here. Again, who knows how much of this is true, if any, but none of it is out of the realm of possibility.
Weird.
I'm sorry. She supports what?
Yeah, I'm an ally to sex workers.
What?
They're brave. Respect them.
You don't know what it's like to be an ally.
They're out there working every night, risking everything.
Going on their computers to OnlyFans and grinding it out, literally. Hello, everybody. We have been silenced by the establishment. I said a
You're
no-no
not an
word.
ally.
I'm not an ally, so they shut me down. But yeah, welcome to the Wardcast, episode 285, part 2.
What if you had a store that sells like fans for like, you know, like ceiling fans and stuff, and that's the only thing you sold, and you didn't know about anything on the computer online, and you named it that, and people were like, "What?"
then there's no room in society for you. Go to hell. That's what
You're trying to make it. You try to buy the website, and you're like, "What do you mean it already exists?" Like this innocent old man with like the dream to like sell a store that only sells fans. Oh, poor guy. He's a family man.
Crazy times that we live in.
Lord meats and
And his
fishes.
wife divorces him because he's on that site.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I just wanted to get them to sell me the domain.
Liar.
I did it for you, honey.
I did it for the
I just
children.
wanted to sell the
I have a
files.
family to feed.
Yeah. All right. A new horror game, AAU, hits Steam later this month. AAU is a narrative-driven first-person horror game. This found-footage VHS-style game follows a soldier. After the catastrophic failure of a mission, you find yourself ensnared in an endless cycle of nihilistic torment, with survival dependent on the guidance of a stranger's voice. Nothing beyond that has been revealed yet, including what it is exactly you'll be facing, but the navigation and gunplay look pretty compelling. The game will be launching in sections, with the first 2 parts available in May, the 3rd part in July, and the following 5 sometime in the future. The game is not being labeled as early access, so it's an unusual release method. It's up now on Steam if you want to wishlist it before the release later this month. Yeah, that was the one I was sitting on for a while. So yeah, it was supposed to come out. Episode 1 was supposed to come out, and it did not. And there's currently no release date for anything anymore. So yeah, they probably ran into some technical difficulties, but it'll come out at some point. But it looks cool. It's weird because like they essentially showed combat, but I don't think they were actually shooting at anything. So it just looked like they were just shooting. So I don't know what the fuck. Like I think it's a horror game, but I don't know for sure.
I'm attacked
The
in the darkness.
But yeah, it looks cool. Like the graphics are cool. The animations of the running and like the firing of the guns is like super realistic. It looks pretty neat.
Too bad we didn't see weather, so we could judge how pretty
Yeah,
the
we
weather
need
looked.
more rain
You need heavy rain?
Or light.
or medium.
He just needs to see the rain effects.
You know what?
Doesn't make boobs jiggle.
The rain?
Only
Have you-
Oh, wow.
6.
Sony is increasing
Yeah.
PlayStation prices again. That's right, this is the second increase in 3 years. Console prices have never increased in years before, and now we have 2 increases for a single platform. This is getting ridiculous. Luckily, this doesn't affect all territories, so hopefully you're one of the lucky ones. In Europe, the PS5 Digital Edition has increased €100 with a £70 increase in the UK. In Australia, the standard PS5 increased by $80 and the digital is up $150. New Zealand's standard PS5 is up $130 and the digital is up $210. Yikes. I'm telling you, being a gamer in the modern day is brutal. This is unprecedented in video games. Systems release, they go on sale every once in a while, and sometimes an updated model will release for the same price as the previous one or less, which will drop the cost of the older model. Costs would always drop over time. Now, not only is that not happening, but it's going the other way. Prices are increasing repeatedly over time, and new models are also substantially more expensive. It's definitely not the way things used to be. So we kind of talked about that a little bit because I kind of baked a little bit of that into the long ass Wii video, Jesus Christ, Switch 2 video that I had, the like 20-minute one. But yeah, it was kind of a separate news story that came before that. But yeah, 2 times they increased the PS5 within a very short amount of time. And that price point that I had there was actually legitimate. The PS1 launched at $300, and by the end of its life cycle, it was $50. Like that's how hardware works. Like hardware does not maintain its value. Like technology, computers are like garbage in a couple of years, basically. Like technology does not hold up. So what are consoles? They're fucking computers. There's no justification for those increasing in price. They should, as time goes forward and technology increases and gets better and more expensive, and older tech loses value and is easier and cheaper to make, it drops. That's how that fucking works. That's how it's always worked. And it makes no sense for that to change now. And here we are, essentially at the back end of the PS5 life. the PS6 is not too far away, maybe a couple of years, and the prices are going up hundreds of dollars. That's fucking insane. Crazy shit.
And people will pay it
That's
because
even worse.
they have to have the shiniest thing.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, they're going to get away with whatever you let them get away with, so that's why it's
My God.
happening. But yeah, good shit. Modern video games are so much fun. All right, it's Machinima Showcase time. This week's showcase is from Das Bullshit. And it's one that we have not seen before this time, at least I think.
Is it
No.
episode 15?
If we have seen it, please call me out and let me know, because I watched a little bit of it and it did not look familiar. It is the same series. It's the Gmod Idiot Box episode 2, but I don't think we've watched it. So it should be new, damn it. Here we go.
They're all
They are
good.
good.
Yeah.
Grabbing peels.
Ow! Ow! What the hell is wrong with you?
Damn it! Oh, cool.
Sometimes I dream about cheese.
It's a good song.
Gravity Cat not amused.
No copyright music. Da, 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 da. Da, da.
Stupid music.
But he's farting.
Da, 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 da.
Is the video just really choppy? If it's not coming across very clearly, we'll just stop it. We're running longer than I expected anyway.
Okay. Yeah, everybody go watch all of these. The good. Bullshit.
It's coming clear for on our end.
Yeah, it looks fine to me too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I just opened
I don't
YouTube
want
and it is
lunch.
really.
I want breakfast.
Is it just like grainy? Is
I'm really
it
sorry.
stuttering? Is
Yeah.
it choppy?
I'm really sorry too.
It's like slideshowy.
Weird. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. Machinima.
That sucks because that bit was really good.
Yeah.
Shoots the entire restaurant and he's like, calm down.
Alrighty. Go check out Das Bullshit.
Yeah.
He won't know that you went there
Bullshit.
because they don't upload videos anymore, but go watch it and enjoy it for the sake of fun. Alrighty, game time. Alec, you're up.
Okay,
Yeah?
it's game time.
Hell. Yeah?
It's time for the movie video game stars. Lights, Kamara, action, cut. That was awful, you're fired.
All right. So, in this game, you will see actors. You have to tell me what video game character they tried playing. bonus points if you can tell me what the actor's name is.
I mean, the first one was Ryan Reynolds, but what the heck did he play?
Pikachu.
Yep, Detective Pikachu.
Everything.
I mean, oh.
Wasn't he Sonic
No.
too?
No, that was somebody else. I don't
Fuck
know
you
who
for
the
putting the
second-
hard one. I don't know her name, but she tried to play Blood
I think
Rain.
it's Christina Loken. Chris something.
Yeah, Christina
Yeah.
Loken plays
Christina.
Blood Rain and Blood Rain. So yeah,
Yeah.
well done. Medium.
I don't know who the middle guy is.
Mind you, she wasn't the worst part of that movie. I think Michelle Rodriguez trying to sound British and then suddenly sounding ghetto and going back and forth was one of the downfalls, and the rest of the movie was pretty shitty, but
I didn't even know there was a Blood Rain movie.
There's at
more than
least
one.
3,
Oh,
maybe 4.
are they U-Bowl movies?
Yeah.
There's a French
Oh,
parody
that's
that's better.
Yeah, that's why I won't watch them.
So it's just medium left to get.
I don't know.
He
who
looks
that
familiar.
is. He looks like if Eminem worked out a lot.
It does a little bit. That's funny.
While still smoking.
Yeah, he does
He
look
looks
familiar,
familiar.
but I don't know. I wouldn't know his name.
Oh, he looks like a guy who played a paladin in this like Curse of Dragon or Dragon Curse movie that I watched, but it's not a video game.
I feel like he probably played something in what was it, Dungeon Siege? Another Uwe Boll movie.
Oh no.
But I wouldn't know the character's
I
name
refuse to
or the
watch
actor's
Batman's
name.
movies.
Or was he in that fuck. What's that game that we keep shitting on because they've gotten super like Dragon Age?
Oh yeah, Dragon Age.
Was he in that Dragon
He
Age
could have
movie?
been, I don't know. But
Dragon Age had a movie?
I don't think so.
Yeah, with Felicity whatever her name is.
Oh.
Was it animated?
She's like in all the she's in all the like geek stuff.
Interesting.
Felicity.
Oh,
whatever.
the chick who's in the guild.
Yeah.
Isn't her name like Felicia Day or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That.
It's close.
No, he looks familiar. I'm looking at his clothes.
the picture doesn't always have to connect to the movie that they played that character in.
Then why does Ryan Reynolds look like
That's true.
Pikachu? Nah.
All right.
And well, she's dressed like her like Terminator 3 outfit right there.
That's the picture from the Terminator 3.
Yeah, that's her T3 outfit.
All right. So if I said the guy in the middle played a character in Resident Evil Retribution.
Oh, fuck off. He was Barry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Barry Burton.
Barry.
Weird.
I forgot about that. And that's probably why I recognize him. I mean, I know I've seen him in other shit too, but no idea what his name is.
The name is Kevin Durand.
He's one of those actors that's like in everything, but you don't know who the fuck they are.
He looks like Gerard Butler.
All right.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So in this game, all you have to do is identify the characters. A bonus if you can tell me what game they came from.
Number 5 is Jodie's mom.
Jodie's mom.
From well, like the from
Number
Beyond Two
4
Souls.
from Shenmue.
Not Jodie's
No,
real
I think
mom.
5 is
but-
from Heavy Rain, but I can't remember her name.
5 is Heavy Rain.
She's a
Oh,
hooker.
she looks exactly like. They just copied the fucking model then because she looks exactly like the Jodie's like adoptive mom at the start.
It's extra funny because for some reason, I thought she was the chick from the pre-Heavy Rain demo. Remember where there
It
was like a
is.
chick like
Yeah.
talking to the camera?
Yeah, they put her in
One
the
is
game.
Joy.
She was a different character.
Oh,
but
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Number 1 is Joyce Price from Life is
That is
Strange.
4 is the
Is
Time
number
Crisis
2
guy. I don't know what his name is.
Oh.
The name is Robert Baxter. Number 5 is Lauren Winter from Heavy Rain. Jazz pointed out Joyce Price from Life is Strange, so it's just 2 and 3 to get.
Is number 2 Monkey Island?
Yep, that's the game.
Is his name Monkey Island guy?
I don't know his name. No.
He
I
looks,
don't remember
he looks like his name is like
Dilbert.
Louis.
Louis. Yeah, I can see that.
Francois.
Louis the Monkey Francois. 3
Or
is from
Jeff.
Shenmue, but I don't know. It looks like a generic thug.
It is from Shenmue.
Shenmue 2.
With an ass on his forehead.
It does look like an ass. Ass head.
Butt cheeks.
That's his name. There you go.
Well, the guy from Shenmue isn't actually Arsehead. It's actually Akio Inoki.
I don't remember that guy at all.
And number 2 is Guy Brush Freepwood.
Oh, that's right. That's his name.
You were close, Jazz.
Gee.
Good job.
Don't mock us.
Thanks.
You fuck.
I got Joyce.
Yeah.
And in my defense, the model looks just like the one from Beyond Two Souls. So.
All right.
All right. Nobody asked us.
Where is that fucking name?
Nobody asked us.
Was someone talking to you?
Hi, Sharon.
Oh, it's fine. She's so angry.
I didn't do this one, so but I can read the question if you guys want.
Yeah, I got this one ready. Questions that I found that were asked, but no, they didn't ask us, so Will asked us. Number 1, if you could be instantly recognized as like in a random video game as a character's best friend, it doesn't have to be the main character, and you were instantly transported in that game, who would it be? If you could choose.
Bayonetta.
That's your answer to everything.
Because she's the best. And for number 2, I would want to be.
We're starting with
Lala.
1.
Oh, my bad. I thought. My bad.
Jesus Christ. Have you done this before? For number 1, I'm saying Karlak. I want to be Karlak's best friend.
Yeah.
But like,
So
she
like you
won't
would just go
explode.
into the game and you would be somebody's best friend? Is that
Like you like suddenly wake up and you got transported in that game, and the character like automatically recognizes you as their best friend.
Albert Wesker?
Any particular reason why?
We'll swim in the volcano together.
You'll die in the volcano together. You transport like in the volcano right as the thing's coming. You're like, fuck! And he's like, oh, hey, bud.
Hey, buddy.
Glad you're here to die with me.
He took
You're
a
like,
rocket
"Shit."
for me.
Yeah.
He's a real bro.
But then you'll go to jail for all his as an accomplice to all
Alex
his
still
crimes.
thinking about it.
Yeah, I was weirdly thinking of some character from Time Crisis because I'll be like in the middle of gunfights all the time. Like, he's just there. Just wait for him to jump up and then shoot the fucking brain.
You're like yelling at him, like, that's not how you do it.
I'll be like, who the fuck keeps saying reload all the time?
I like that you have Shart there,
Who
and she's
said
like,
that?
nobody ever asks me.
Yeah. I took that screenshot myself. All right. So similarly, if you could take over the life of any video game characters, essentially swap places with them, who would it be and why?
Max from Life is strange. I think it'd be fun to have
Why?
nose periods and rewind time.
What the fuck?
It'd be fun to be through. I already have nose periods all the time. It hurts. My nose hurts.
You know, you could just have a
I would
conversation,
want to
rewind,
be.
and just like, you're about to say this, so fuck you. And then, so yeah.
Who, Sheila?
I would want to be ooh la la, so I could be the host of the Swing and Report show on Space Channel 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life would be so groovy, and we dance to save the universe. Dance, 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 dance.
I would pick the protagonist from Saints Row 4 so that I could be the president and have superhuman strength and
That would be
powers and
pretty awesome.
fly and jump and do all the crazy shit and have a
Cancel
dubstep gun. I
tariffs.
mean, just there's so many reasons. Like,
You
Yeah,
could
that's a
cancel
pretty good
tariffs
one.
too, just if you wanted. Just say.
punch aliens into the sky.
Since you have powers.
There's so many reasons.
Super Sean for
So
president.
obviously, I had time to think about this one too, and I would want to be switch with Aloy. Because then I'd just I'd have all these like bows and awesome weapons. I'd be able to like ride machines and like fucking like the world would be so cool because it's like post-apocalyptic but not like you can discover all these like metal places but like everything is just wilderness, and everybody knows you so they just like keep their distance because you're fucking badass. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thought you were gonna pick a
Yeah.
Plague's Tale
And the
because
last
rats.
fuck that, like you fucking die all the time. Oh, it's like everyone's French and they smell.
No.
No. Yeah, they pee in the road and everyone's dying. You can catch a disease anytime and just die, and you have a little brother that's a piece of shit.
It sounds great. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'd swap places with Shadowheart and kill myself. All right, last question is what's the best unique weapon? So like not a gun or like a sword, but like unless it's a specific one, what's the best unique weapon that you've ever seen or used in a video game?
It's funny Sean mentioned Saints Row because I was totally gonna say the D-bat.
Wow.
D-bat?
I don't want to get us in trouble by
Oh.
saying.
I think you can say
But
that.
you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
know.
say that. I mean, we've talked about Ellie many times.
Wow. The big purple
It
bat.
comes with the collection. It comes with the collector's edition. We talked about it.
I mean, I have to kind of go dubstep gun again. Like that thing's amazing.
It makes everybody dance.
I'm gonna say the cardboard box in Metal Gear because yes, it's not really a weapon, but
Ooh,
you can
nice.
use it. Actually, you can use it as a weapon.
Or the banana.
So yeah, you can use it to get closer, or go. Or in Peace Walker, I think you can have it where it actually is a cardboard tank and you shoot shit from it. So
Yeah.
or the love box.
That makes me. Although I like the being able to hold people up with a banana, like freeze.
The banana gun.
Yeah. It's it's literally just a banana.
I put the picture of mine. It's from Blood Rain 2. It's the knives that she has, which like connects to her wrist. So like when you kill people, it fills up like a blood meter because the knives literally drain the blood. And then you shoot, like they charge off the blood to shoot the gun. But like if you run out of the meter, it drains Rain's blood. And I find those just so fucking cool. Like the fact that you always have a gun on you, but then like it has to fuel on blood. I find them really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. I wish she had them in the first one, but I guess that's what like it upgrades it from the first game to the second. So Yeah. But also, I've like mentioned before in Saints Row, like the shark gun. They could just shoot, and then sharks come out and eat people out of nowhere. It's pretty fun.
In Saints Row 2, you could also like get a sanitation truck and like spray people with shit. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I
so
feel like
funny.
there was a game, I can't place it, but there's a game that had a weapon where you could like make people dance to death, but I can't think of what the hell it was.
Doesn't the dubstep gun do that? They like explode or
That
something?
could be what I'm thinking of, but I don't know. I feel like it's something else.
Huh.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Dance gun. I don't know.
Dance gun. A car's engine from Fighting Force count as a unique weapon. I mean, if you can kill people with it. But if it's just a car,
in
then
Bust a
no.
Groove, you dance fight people, but they don't die.
Yep.
They're breakdance fighting.
That's like the one thing that they failed at for Bust a Groove is like when you beat somebody, they should like explode or something. That would have been great.
I think the best thing I've ever seen somebody use as a weapon, it's not in a game, but it was in an anime. It was in Noir. She's like running to catch up to her partner, and like as she runs, she just like from this little like street market table thing, she just grabs like a little toy car and she like takes it apart while she's running, and then she just like runs up and kills the guy with like the wheel attached to like the metal bar. She just like stabs him in the neck with it. And she's just like a kid. I'm like, or a spoon. She killed somebody with a spoon.
I do have one other honourable mention. It's in one of the more recent Hitman games where Agent 47 throws this briefcase and the guy he's meant to kill is on this kind of speedboat. He's going round and round, and eventually the briefcase just catches up with him. It just knocks him out. An obvious glitch.
There's a League of Legends character that does that. He throws like cleavers, but there's a skin where he's a businessman and he's throwing briefcases, and you see like papers fly out of it.
Lee says the car engine in Fighting Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if it's like a car, but if it's like you can kill him with the engine itself, it's cool.
Wow. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Alrighty.
Oh, buddy,
Well, that's going to do it for episode 285 part 2. After this, I get to go take a look and see if I have a fucking channel strike. But anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody. If you enjoyed the podcast or any of the content at the War, please consider helping us grow by sharing our content, liking the video, and subscribing. You can support us through patreon.com/thewardproductions for exclusive content, or support us right here on YouTube to get a special video of Leon doing the murder stuff. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.
Subscribe to the Ward Productions.
Strike.